Welcome into College Football Smothered and Covered on a beautiful Wednesday here in Atlanta. Appreciate you hopping on the show. Please share with your friends. Leave a review, whether it be Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, wherever. Available all across the new media space. And got a big show today. Chuck Oliver from the Chuck Oliver Show, syndicated across the Southeast. You can also listen to him on Chuck and Chernoff at 680 The Fan from 2 to 6 every single day here in Atlanta. They call him King CFB, and there's a reason, because he knows everything about college football, and you have a lot to talk about heading into media days and the 2024 season. We are brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all things sports this summer, whether it be live lines, odds, stats, news, everything over at Bet Online. And when you're done, head out their online casino, poker, blackjack, maybe your slots. They got 150 different slot options as well. So go to Bet Online, sign up today, use promo code BELIEVE, and you'll get 50% off your first deposit up to $250. That's promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, and you'll get $50 up to your first deposit of $250. Bet Online, the game starts here. Hey, you can get this sweet cup. This is the Smothered and Covered tumbler. You can get it at the Smothered and Covered online store. It's on Shopify. You can also get a link right below this video. And if you are listening on Apple or Spotify, it is in the description. So you can get this. We got tumblers, we got coffee mugs, we got shirts, we got hoodies, we got everything over at the College Football Smothered and Covered store. So check it out. A lot of stuff to gear up with before the season starts. Joined now by a good friend, a guy I've known for 20, 25 years, probably dating us a little too much because both of us are now old dudes. He is Chuck Oliver. Chuck Oliver Show, syndicated across the Southeast. You can also listen to him 2 to 6 on 680 The Fan on Chuck and Chernoff. King, what's up, man?
I appreciate the invite, man. I don't know if the high def video is good for me. You know, I was on with Jake Roos and Jake Rowe the other day. You know those characters. And we did the StreamYard thing, which means I had to figure out Google Chrome. I don't know. It's 2024. So I've when you don't shave the high def, it's not a good thing. So we'll just roll with it. But tell your viewers they can just go the audio, right? That's an option.
Well, you got to subscribe to YouTube, but then you can go to audio. There's a new feature on StreamYard. It's called Touch Up Your Appearance. So looks like I have makeup, right?
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we'll do like the anti-aging Tom Hanks thing, right? Okay.
That's right. That's right. Well, first let's start with media days, because you and I will be there.
Yes,
we'll both have spots on Radio Row, which is going to be different than me having to dress in a suit, which I absolutely hate. So 11 of 16 teams are bringing quarterbacks. It seems like it's an ebb and flow every single year. Sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's 11. Sometimes you get quarterbacks like Matt Corral, who hadn't even won the job yet. But let's go back to this. Is it the year of the quarterback in the SEC?
Oh, I believe it is. Carson Beck, to me, he's the 1-1. He really is all set up for that. In fact, my only question is, will Mike Bobo call those plays? Not that Bobo may be against it, but if Mike Bobo decides he wants to stretch this thing out, unwind it a little bit, he knows he's got a 6'5" guy with that arm and those receivers. And by the way, look at our scholarship running backs. Maybe we do need to wing it this year. Mm-hmm. As great as I think Carson Beck can be in the first overall draft pick, there may be more statistically impactful. That's an NFL. That's a Sunday thing, Barrett. There may be more Saturday to Saturday statistically impactful guys throughout, like Nico, Jackson Dart. My gosh, when you talk about playing that, Prize Picks and DraftKings and all that stuff, this is going to be dial a number this year in the SEC. And it goes deep, doesn't it? Like Jalen Milroe. Could he be the 5th or 6th best quarterback in this league? Stupid. Yeah. Garrett Nussmeier, who a couple years ago, he's got Manziel sort of things. And then we saw Daniels rush for 1,200 yards. And we're like, okay, maybe not Manziel. But
maybe he's that guy.
Yeah, Nussmeier could be like the 10th best guy in the conference. I think you're 100% correct.
It's going to be fascinating to see, but one quarterback who I think has been overlooked, and a lot of it's due to injury, but it's a little unfair to him because of all the quarterbacks in the SEC, is Connor Wegman at Texas A&M. I think that the upside is there. You go ask any NFL scout, you look at Pro Football Focus, you look at all these sort of metrics. And Connor Wegman checks all those boxes. He just hadn't done it all that much. I'm fascinated to see what Elko does with him, but I'm more fascinated to see what he does in a system that isn't like hieroglyphics under Jimbo Fisher. Where do you put him? Let's do it this way. Where would you put him at the end of the season in that pecking order?
It's so funny that you asked me this, because about 2 months ago, I did an exercise where I ranked all the quarterbacks in the SEC, but I said, here's an important thing. Most of us, when we want to rank guys, we start at 1 and all right, who do I like most? All right, who do I like second? I was like, name a quarterback in the SEC. Boom, Brock Vandegrift. I said, all right, now name another guy and put him either below or above. I was like, build your list that way, and it's a lot more organic. I literally this morning was going to do a topic. I was sketching it out about my revised quarterback ideas. And Connor Wegman is right on the divide, because I realized every guy that I moved up, maybe a spot, maybe 2, it was based 100% on this guy's experienced. And after watching spring and after watching the offseason, I'm like, I am retreating back towards what does literally every veteran coach do? Who's the guy that's played some? And so I'm revising my rankings, and I'm going back to who's played some. And so in those rankings, we have guys like Jackson Arnold, who Barrett, it's going to work. All right. For Jackson Arnold, they're going to be a bunch of passing yards, bunch of touchdowns. Connor Wegman's played. Okay. And he's been Jimbo Fisher's choice twice. So that's not nothing. I think Wegman right now going into the season, he's probably 9th on the list. Like Nussmeier, Nussmeier hasn't played. Wegman has. So just above that, at the end of the season, he could be a top 5 guy in the SEC. That's absolutely possible.
Let's stick with Texas A&M, because Mike Elko's had success at Duke. It's hard to have success at Duke. He knows Texas A&M from his time there as an assistant, and those fans are starved. And I'm not just like talking regular starved. I'm talking like 10 days in the desert starved because of the fact that they can't break through, whether it's Sumlin and Menzel or Jimbo Fisher, which was stupid to begin with. And I said that and they hated me. But we're talking about the 30s since the last time they were nationally relevant to a point where they might win a national championship, and spare me the COVID year. Is Elko the guy that can get him there?
He's the guy that can make them as consistently steady to almost great on a season-to-season basis. Their lives just got miserable, all right? I think everybody in College Station, they're looking over at Austin. It's like Texas A&M is Tom Hanks on that island, and somebody just dropped a roast beef sandwich on the beach, all right? That's what the Texas program is to all these Texas A&M people. They just had 12 years of advantage being in the SEC, and they did nothing with it. 12 seasons to make it permanent. I mean, literally, there have been a century of college football before Barrett, and Texas, by every metric, anyone, individual players, coaches, size of the stadium, Heisman's, national titles, everything, Texas was better. I mean, do you agree? The day that Mizzou and A&M signed that sheet of paper, A&M became a better program.
Yes, healthier program for sure, especially at that time when the Big 12 was like decimated. That was when the Big 12 was failing.
They did nothing with it. And so Texas, you can look at them and say, what did you really do with the opportunity once A&M was out of your conference? Did you, because that was supposed to be a little boost to you. A&M had a huge, huge advantage, and there were some superficial and some, shiny, sparkly things that happened for them. They never maximized that opportunity. And now Texas, as soon as July 1st, Texas flew past the Aggies.
They did. And I know Texas A&M fans will hate to hear that, but it's true.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, you missed the opportunity. The window was there. And I go back a long time ago to, I wasn't Chris Del Conte. I can't remember who the AD
Patterson?
at Texas was. No, at Texas. I can't remember.
Steve Patterson?
No, but he said he had A&M had a small sliver of West Texas. And A&M fans just got so pissed. Yeah, and it was just like, that's true. They have a small sliver of West Texas in terms of the excitement of the SEC, and now everybody in the state is. And it gets me to this. I've said for a long time that, not a long time, a year plus that Texas is ready for the SEC. We can all sit here. They're not ready for SEC speed. Or, they're a Big 12 team. They're all finesse, no, all sizzle, no steak. They went to Tuscaloosa and won by double digits in a game that they trailed in the fourth quarter. I think people forget they trailed in the fourth quarter and won at Bryant-Denny by double digits because of the line of scrimmage. Now, things have changed a little bit in terms of the personnel. But am I wrong in saying that Texas is more than capable of being not just competitive this year, but an SEC power?
I think SMU and Texas, to a different degree, they are way, way, way outside the norm exceptions. Whenever you trade up in conference, it's great for the 15th and 30th immediately. It takes a minute to get your roster ready for the, quote, bigger time. If you go back and look at the Big 12 last year, now Baylor, I don't know, they dropped the transmission about week 3. That was a disaster. So Baylor was just bad, okay? Go look at the bottom 5 teams in the Big 12 last year. It was Baylor and all 4 of the new teams. When you have to get your roster, and you know what it is, Barrett, like a 4-3 is a 4-3, okay? But big guys who can move, whether especially on the defensive line, also on the offensive line, big guys who can move. There's your difference. That's what makes you not ready for a conference trade up. Oklahoma and Texas are trading up in conference. Absolutely. Texas got the bodies. They absolutely have SEC big guys who can move. They had like 650-pound of defensive tackle last year in Tuscaloosa, both of whom wound up getting drafted in the early rounds in the past April. So they're SEC ready, and they reloaded at SEC ready. Look in the box. Look at those 9 guys, 5 O-linemen, and then the 3 or 4 D-linemen. Look at those guys and the depth, size, speed. Can they cover a gap and a half? That's what makes you ready for whatever conference whether it's Conference USA, going up to the AAC, whatever it is, there it is, and Texas is ready.
Is Sark ready? Because I look at Sark and he kind of, I don't know if, I guess he's a cartoon character to some, not me, but some, because of his unceremonious dismissal, with all the, off the field stuff. And, we've seen the video of him yelling at the dude trying to stop him from running out the tunnel. And to me, it's not fair to him because he's a damn good football coach. Do you think that he can be, I'm not saying Nick Saban, can he be Kirby Smart?
If he stays long enough, because if you started ranking SEC coaches on one metric, who looks like a Sunday guy? Like Steve Sarkisian, he looks like a Sunday guy to me. And so he may be like, even, remember the DC at Missouri was like, I'll go coach corners for the Carolina Panthers. Like, I don't want to be in college anymore. You're going to be a position coach for a bad franchise.
Jeff Hafley left Boston, an ACC team,
as a head coach. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
A lot of coaches are going to do that, by the way.
And so, I absolutely think that Sark could look at now. By the way, like when you're head coach at Texas, that's pretty high cotton. So like you can hire the staff and you can mitigate as much of this stuff. Like it won't get to your desk until there's a really good chance that you're going to get the kid. Like I get all that. It's still NIL and recruiting and boosters. And you know who doesn't have boosters? Like the Philadelphia Eagles don't have boosters. Okay. They got an owner and that's it. And you've got an athletic director there anyway. So like we know all that background. I think Sark he actually proved to me, because as I've been a big fan of Sark's personally, I'm a big fan of second chances, especially when a guy takes advantage of it. And he had demons. I mean, we all know about it. It was the drinking stuff, and it cost him head coaching job at USC. I don't like any of that. My gosh, has he come all the way back and then 5 steps past it? When I say 5 steps past it, do you know where he was as recently as kickoff 2 years ago? Dude, you've been at 3 pretty good programs. You really hadn't won yet. Washington, people forget he was with Husky. Washington, USC, and now Texas, and you ain't won yet. Now, he was
Washington, they were just okay. They were good, but not great.
Same thing at Southern Cal. He'd only been a couple of years in Texas, but didn't they go 6-7 maybe? And
sounds about right.
Yeah, and then all of the recruiting happened, and like he brought Quinn Ewers down from Ohio State, and I'm looking at this, it's like, did we not pay attention to their record? But he had something building there, and then took off in 22, and last year through the roof, and they could win the national championship this year. Absolutely, they could. It would be a surprise if they're not a playoff team for the second year in a row.
I agree. Opinion on Quinn Ewers, because I look at Quinn Ewers and I kind of go back and forth. Okay, I'm a Carson Beck guy, and then I'm a Quinn Ewers guy, and then I kind of go back and forth. To me, Quinn Ewers is, I think, the most important player in college football this year, because he's the guy that will have to lead Texas not only into the SEC, but into national championship contention and further set the tone. Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. And you may talk about, like, I don't know. I think they'll shake the tree and 2 running backs will fall out of it. But they do have that concern as well.
They
But
do that.
like, I've looked at, Quinn Ewers last year, the past couple of seasons. Dallas Turner falling on my quarterback is not the same as you figured out my guy. Okay. And my guy's kind of doesn't know how to fall and ruined his shoulder a little bit. That's not the same as you figured out my guy. There have been injuries and kind of weird ones the past 2 seasons. Other than that, Quinn Ewers, that kid's got a fastball, man. Yeah, in fact, somebody asked me before last season, who's the number 1 kid in college football you're most excited to see? No other measuring stick. I was like, Quinn Ewers. I don't know why I said that, but I was like, wait a minute. Good-looking Texas quarterback with a howitzer on his shoulder and then all that track star on the outside, AD and Worthy and all those guys. I was like, yeah, Quinn Ewers. Different receiver, better quarterback, more confident coach, higher stakes. They're expected to do this year. Last year it was, hey, I wonder if they can. I'm all about the Longhorns, not like picking them for the national championship, but where they have hit that program right now, the momentum, the way they play, love watching them.
Yeah, I've always kind of broken it down this way. In the playoff era, there are teams that can get there and there are teams that can win it, right? Michigan State, when they got there, they couldn't win it. There was no chance. And Clemson with Kelly Bryant, they could get there. They couldn't win it. And that was in the middle of the Clemson, air quote, dynasty. And I think Texas is a team that actually can win it. Not will, but can get there. A team that is far away from that is South Carolina. Lenore Sellers is going to be their quarterback. Shane Beamer, I guess the shine has worn off. I don't know if that's fair, because I think there are still some people who like him, especially within the walls of that football complex. And obviously he's built that program. I talk to Shane a lot. He's been on this show. And the fact that he's built that program in his image is very important, because if you have a guy faking it, like Will Muschamp at Florida, it's going to crash and burn very quickly. I like that with Shane Beamer. But what should be the expectation at South Carolina in an era of no divisions and Oklahoma and Texas in the conference?
They're never playing for the SEC title again.
I agree.
When Missouri or Carolina did that, it was because 3 monsters were down all at the same time. I mean, remember James Franklin at Vanderbilt? He beat Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida in the same season.
That's sorcery. I still am baffled by that whole thing.
And then he was like, peace, James out.
Deuces.
So my work is done here, ladies and gentlemen. So, like, we know what used to be baked into it. There was the express lane, wasn't there? Like, finally, I picked the right lane. I'm in the East. And it's not Spurrier and Rick early days and Fulmer. It's Lane Kiffin or Derek Dooley. I got a shot now. I can beat Ron Zook, I think. And so
a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, it was a totally different environment there. All right, here's what I think about Shane. I think like 97% of the people in that building, I think the fans, I think everybody absolutely believes we have the right coach or a good coach or he's doing everything. Like, I think 97% of the people have some sort of positive image of Shane where whatever happens is not really on him. And this is why I say that. I think South Carolina is doing literally everything they can right now. You mentioned Boom. I can't tell you how many times Muschamp, I'm a big fan of. It was always so very nice and accommodating and all that. But I knew it was coming out of his mouth. He said, we got 6.5 million people in South Carolina. You got 6.5 million people in Atlanta, Chuck. We have to recruit that area. I was like, yes, you do. Kids in South Carolina. Comparatively. And so people know that unless there's this weird thing where like 3 straight years, wasn't it, was it Holloman or Gilmore? And then it was Lattimore and Clowney. And I'm like, That's not real. Okay. But it was real. And then suddenly, did they win? Was it like 41 regular season games in 3 years?
That is correct. That is correct.
I'm like, all right, that's not nothing at South Carolina, but you got to have the kids. And so people know, especially in name, image, likeness, like they got Nick Harbor. A little misguided because there was so much, any other layers there, but they agreed to him, the track and all that. That was part of the agreement to get him. I think that Lenora Sellers, like, I don't feel I'm being sold anything. I'm not going to tell you it's going to work out. I'm saying everything I've heard from folks there in Columbia, when they talk about Lenora Sellers, it really sounds genuine. They have a confidence about that kid. Now, he has to go out and play SEC football. And Spence Rattler was a monster last year. So many folks, you look at the statistics and you get such a limited view.
He didn't have an offensive line. Like, that's a big thing.
He had UNC insignias all over his body after that game, and it never really got better. He played his tail off last year. And so anything, like, it can undo it. I think now this is a portal era thing, but still their leading returning receiver, I think, had 12 catches. And so I think the giant ball of context here, I think South Carolina people, whoever that is, administrators, fans, players, I think everybody looks at Shane and about 97% of them go, yeah, we're doing all we can with him. And so it's external factors. They're punching up right now, and they could win 7 games, like a punch-up season. And I would look at him and go, dang, Shane, 7 wins.
I 100% agree. It's like the Arkansas of what used to be the SEC East. Well, Chuck, tell everybody how they can find you. You're syndicated across the Southeast. You got sticks everywhere.
Yeah, it's southernsportstoday.com, I believe, is the website. You can Google your computer, Chuck Oliver Show, and you can find it out there. We just talk college football for a couple hours a day. Honestly, it's just, you know what it is? Anybody listening right now, I'm you plus a microphone. That literally is whatever you're talking about with college football. We do that for a couple hours a day.
It's a great show. It's a great show. Chuck, appreciate it. That'll wrap it up for this edition of College Football Smothered and Covered. Appreciate you hopping on today. Appreciate Chuck Oliver from 680 Defending Sports, Southern Sports Today, the Chuck Oliver Show. Chit-chatting with us for about 20 minutes or so. Of course, we are brought to you by Bet Online. Go to Bet Online, use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, and you'll get $50 up to your first deposit of $250. Media Days. 4 days away. It's getting close. Talking season is almost here. A reminder, we will be over in Dallas on Radio Row. We'll have interviews with all kinds of dignitaries from the SEC, whether it be media folks, coaches, players. Got a lot of coaches and players already set up. So we'll have a lot of that over on Radio Row next week. Till next time, appreciate you hopping on. Talk to you soon.